so we'll call the Halifax Finance Committee meeting to order for March 30th. It is now 7:05. On tonight's agenda, we're being recorded tonight by Chat TV. Tonight's agenda is mail, reserve fund transfers, approval of meeting minutes, 7:15 meeting with Highway Department, Bob Bedore, 7:30 meeting with South Coast Legal Services, Raymond York, 7:45 meeting with COA, Barbara Britton, Civil Lake budget discussion, discussion of FY15 and FY16 budgets, review spending year to date, public participation, and discussion of upcoming meeting dates and calendar. Okay, so we can start with the bail. So we received a request from Joe Shaves. He's sent a letter to the secretary, our secretary of the finance committee. As per our conversation, please provide the following public documents or confirm non-custody. Number one, all meetings posted for the Tri-Town Finance Committee from 2014 to 2015 inclusive. All meeting agendas for the Tri-Town Finance Committee 2014 to 2015 inclusive. The names of the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. All the meeting minutes for the Tri-Town Finance Committee 2014 through 2015 inclusive. In the Finance Committee Town of Halifax meeting minutes Monday, March 31st, 2014, Section 4, Silver Lake Tri-Town meeting recap, paragraph 1, line 10 and 11. Peg feels that the three towns need to agree to vote jointly. Need a copy of this agreement. Section 4, Tri-Town, the Silver Lake Tri-Town meeting recap, paragraph 2, line 3 and 4. Gordon will draft a memo to Silver Lake along with Kingston and Plimpton Finance Committees to advise. Need a copy of this memo. Request all documents from Tri-Town Finance Committee 2014 through 2015 inclusive to be preserved for future discovery. Thank you for attention to this matter. So, I don't know what we have. We don't actually have a Tri-Town Finance Committee. It's not an actual committee. It's just we've gone to joint meetings with them.
I think that's what he has to be told. He has to be said there is no Tri-Town, that members of the individual Tri-Town committees meet to discuss things.
Well, I
but
wouldn't-
we have not.
Oh, Charlie?
I wouldn't even go into the explanation. I would,
Huh?
I wouldn't
Can you
even.
come up and shout? I can't hear you.
I would not even go into the explanation. I would simply say there is no such committee, therefore, and I went through this with Kendra, he's asking, for instance, what's number one?
Number one is all meetings posted for the
Okay,
Tri-Town.
one, there is no Tri-Town Finance Committee, therefore there are no meeting postings. Two, there is no Tri-Town Finance Committee, there is no agendas. Three, boom, 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 boom. Don't even go into the explanation of it, because he is asking for certain documents, and all your mission is at this point is to simply, either you don't have documents or you do. If you do have documents, here are copies, here's the charge, 20 cents a page, off you go, sir. I wouldn't go into it.
Okay, that's wise.
I would also CC to the other finance committees, Plimpton and Kingston, copies of what you're saying him. I would also CC Casey Hansen, the chairman of the Silver Lake School Committee, or on the reply also.
Your CC, who? The
Casey Hansen, the Plimpton Finance Committee,
Okay.
and the Kingston
Kingston
Finance Committee.
Finance Committee. And maybe the superintendent?
You can, but I think it's
No,
more
he's
important.
not involved.
Correct. I think, and I'm not, and this isn't saying that Casey is involved either. I think simply as chair of the Silver Lake School Committee, she
Okay.
should be aware of the
Absolutely.
request from one of her members of the
Yeah,
committee.
absolutely.
That's it.
Was there a catalyst for this request?
I'm sure there was. I'm not really interested in going into it.
Okay.
Because I would be saying things that probably don't need to be said. And would gain nothing from being said.
Who is it?
If you'd like to
He-
talk to me.
no,
He's a member of the Silver Lake School Committee.
Joseph Chase. Okay. You know him?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he was at the school committee meeting last week.
Oh,
And
okay.
he had made requests before Thursday's meeting, but both, he had talked with Kendra and with Barbara about this matter. I'm not really happy with how he treated the folks here at Town Hall, but that's not something before this committee.
He was not happy with how he was.
No, I was not happy with how he treated our employees.
Oh, how he treated our
Yes.
employees. I don't blame you, Charlie.
Okay, so do you wanna respond back and say
Sure
there
will.
is no committee?
I will take each one of these on.
Okay. The next letter we received is the Finance Committee from, it's from Norfolk County Agricultural High School. To the Finance Committee, currently the city of Halifax has the following number of students enrolled in Norfolk County Agricultural School. Grade 9, there are 0, grade 10, 0, grade 11, 1, grade 12, 1. As of March 16th, 2015, there are 3 students that have applied for admission within the 2015-2016 school year. When the applicants have been offered and accepted a place in the freshman class for the fall of 2015, another letter will be sent to you clarifying the number of applicants who are finally enrolled. If you wish additional details, please don't hesitate to contact my office directly.
That's a fairly expensive school.
So I would assume that would mean that if all 3 freshmen get in, then we would have 4 spots. Because there's currently 0 in grade 9. There's currently 1 in grade 12, so the 1 in grade 12 would drop off, the 1 in grade 11 would go to grade 12,
Right.
and there's 3 for grade 9. So that would put us at a deficit for that line, because right now we have scheduled for 3 students.
Yeah.
Okay? So,
Well, I recommend we not change it until, April is pretty close.
so they have until April 1st to apply, but how long do they normally take to get back? Does anybody know?
Only a month. The school only takes a month whether to decide.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we need to make sure we,
And that's really, that's a steep, tuition, that school.
yeah. Okay, the next letter we received was more of a flyer. The 18th annual holiday egg hunt sponsored by Mutual Bank of Halifax, September 4th, 2015 at the Halifax Elementary Gymnasium from 10:30 to 1 p.m., rain or shine. Activity timetable. Face painting from 10:30 to 1, free. Moonwalks from 10:30 to 1, additional cost. Jelly bean guest jar, 10:30 to 1. Balloonists, yes, we will have 2 this year, 11 to 1, free. Games, additional cost. Photo op with a bunny, and Anna and Elsa from Arundel, which is Frozen, from 11 to 1, additional cost. Hot dogs, pizza, and drinks, additional cost. Egg hunts are free from 12 noon to 12:10 preschool egg hunt, from 12:15 to 12:20 kindergarten first grade, from 12:30 to 12:40 grades 2 and 3, from 12:45 to 12:50 grades 4th and 5. Coffee and snacks is supplied by Dunkin' Donuts. For more information, go to the Halifax youthandrec.org website, directed by Richard Steele. Okay. So then, next we have to Kendra from Kathy Dryden. Kendra, could you please pass along a message to Gordon Andrews? 1, I realized that after my recent message with the Finance Committee that I had not fully informed them of possibility of change for the animal inspector. I initially asked for increase her salary to be considered grade 7 position, unclassified, without steps because of the low hours used. The increase in pay was to be funded by revenue from a fee for barn permits. The Board of Health is in the midst of hearings and discussions on this. At this point, it appears that there will be no charge for the barn permit, therefore no additional revenue to fund this request. The animal inspector is currently working more hours, on the average of 4.5 hours per week, than she is paid for. I have informed the Wage and Personnel Committee of the changes. I have requested Wage and Personnel to reclassify the position as grade 7 unclassified without steps. If this is allowed, it would be a result in an increase. She is currently paid $2,900 per year. Grade 7 at 5 hours per week is $18.53 times 262 days. That doesn't seem right. Equals $4,854.86. I have included a chart to show what is accomplished by the animal inspector. 2. The funds for the assistant health agent were approved last year's annual town meeting. There is no increase there. I have asked Wage and Personnel to establish the position as salary and yearly paid for 2 hours per week. 3. It is the next year that the landfill monitoring contract runs out. I will seek another bid from the current engineering firm next winter in time for the Finance Committee to know the figure for the following 3 years. Thank you very much. So then, she said she attached the chart. Did you print out the
I
chart?
didn't see a chart. Maybe she forgot to attach it, I'll ask her in the morning,
Okay.
and I'll forward it along to her.
Okay. It doesn't make sense that it's $18.53 times 262 days. Does it?
Well, that would be an hour a day, 5 hours a week.
But, yeah, that's about right.
Can you read the paragraph again?
It says, the animal inspector is currently working more hours, on the average of 4.5 hours per week than she is paid for. I have informed the Wage and Personnel Committee of the changes. I have requested the Wage and Personnel to reclassify the position as grade 7, position unclassified without steps. If this is allowed, it would result in an increase. She is currently paid $2,900 per year. The grade 7 for 5 hours per week is $18.53 times 262 days equals $4,854.86.
Because 5 hours a week works out to 1 hour per day. We prorate everything, so to come down to a daily wage.
Yep.
So that's what she's saying. This would cost 1 hour a day, and that's the rate that she's using. And there's 262 working days in FY16.
Okay. So Bob's here, so why don't we move to the appointment and we'll get back to the mail.
We'll have to remember, we had voted that one.
Previously?
We had approved it.
Well,
It's 119. Going out a lot. How do you think? It's an optimistic shirt to wear.
I guess we can just go around and introduce ourselves.
Stu Hall.
Hey, could you go?
Gordon Andrews.
Linda Barnett.
Kendra Kelly.
Alright, so. Bob, we have lines starting on line 80.
Maybe.
So we have highway surveyor, level funded, is $68,798. That's level funded. Line 81, we have highway wages, $284,110. It's an increase of $677, and it's up to.
You want some motions on these?
No, just read them off. So
Okay.
so on that one, is that just a contract?
Hey, he only had, yeah.
Okay. $4,981. It's an increase of last year of $398. It's a 1% increase. Is that?
It's a day in longevity.
Excuse me, as
Yep.
long as you're reading that. Bob, have the extra hours made a difference in the bond? The extra hours we approved for the secretary?
Yeah, yeah.
They have made a big difference?
Doing good.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so we have highway expense at 83. It's 4,971. So on that one.
Legal DET, of course. That was wages, everything. Expense.
So is there anything in your expenses, Bob, that need to be pointed out for this upcoming year?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's level funded. Highway barn maintenance, 10,100. Level funded. So, electricity cost is in this line. Have you gone over that with Charlie yet?
No, because the new rates just came out, right?
Yeah.
Well, and the two of us are working to make adjustments.
On all the electricity lines.
Okay. Alright, so we just need to note 84 then? For electricity. Next line is line 85, highway, and that's equipment, that's 48,500, it's level funded. Is there anything in the equipment that you think after this snow season that's gonna be
We may be back in another month asking for a transfer to finish up this year.
okay for snow and ice or for equipment?
For equipment.
Okay. Kendrick, can you just note that? Do you know approximately?
And I don't want to guess right now because I'm not sure if all the bills are in,
Okay.
what we owe out, you know. We had a couple major repairs that we had to, that took quite a bit of money.
Okay. Are all the trucks working now?
They're all working, yeah. They're up and working now.
All right, then 86 is highway town roads. It's $74,335 is level funded. That's usually where you do the pothole repairs from.
Yeah, that and other way.
Okay, and then 87 is highway, snow and ice. It's level funded at $177,509. So do you? Yes.
What's the rule, Bob? Do we have to appropriate what you spend the prior year, or what we appropriate the prior year, or else the higher of both of them, do you know?
I think they've been appropriating 177 for.
Oh, Sandy knows.
Okay.
In order to deficit spend, legally deficit spend, you have to appropriate at least as much as you appropriated the year before.
Okay, not as much as you spent.
No, as much as you appropriated.
Because, I mean, if that was the case, Plymouth, they're gonna spend a couple million, they only appropriate 500,000, they don't wanna have to appropriate $2 million every year.
Okay.
Are you all caught up on the salt and everything back in the barn, or is that?
No, we got about a third, enough for this year. Here, we're not buying nothing more now, we'll wait to see what happens.
Okay.
Hopefully we don't get no more storms.
Okay. So traffic, street lights are 21,945. Traffic lights are 5,500. Line 90 is tree warden salary, $1. Line 91 is tree maintenance, 3,500.
Wait a second.
Yes.
Go back to streetlights. I have on my, pages that Sandy Nolan has suggested a $3,000 increase.
Those, again, the street lights and the traffic lights with the electricity bill, Charlie and I are gonna go over it and
Alright.
come up with each of the electricity lines, what we recommend as increases.
Alright, so we'll
Okay.
know 88
Should
and
we
89.
hold those?
Yeah.
Alright, so line 91 is tree maintenance, 3,500. And line 92 is insect and pest control. So is there anything within the budget? I mean, you came in and you basically level funded everything like we asked. Is there anything that you need to tell us that we need to be aware of by doing this? Like, is-
Not really, I mean,
What are your plans for capital improvement?
as
You know,
far as-
trucks,
as far as
equipment,
trucks go,
anything?
Well, I know we've been talking about buying a bigger truck. One of the big trucks, we've been talking about replacing one of the bigger trucks,
Uh-huh.
which is 200,000 to replace it. We do have money under the Chapter 90 town share,
Mm-hmm.
that we talked about taking the money out of that to purchase a truck if we wanted to.
Well, with the condition of the roads, do you think we should, or do you think we should leave that money for the roads?
To be honest with you, I'm holding off as long as I can on purchasing.
Pardon?
I'm holding off as long as I can on purchasing a new truck.
Okay.
I mean, I just can't see 200,000 for a new truck.
You can't see it in your budget, but can you see
I
it out of the state money?
I just can't see spending that kind of money for what we use it for.
Mm-hmm. But you buy it out of the state money?
Town share, the town share.
The town share?
They got they stopped putting money in that account here, what, I don't know when, a few years back.
Probably 10 years.
Yeah, something on the order of 5 to 10 years ago, more than 5 certainly.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have an idea of what roads you're gonna do this year?
We're gonna be doing 58, heading toward Plimpton. I'm gonna try to tweak in this section of 106 down here by the farmhouse, car wash, to like the country club, where it's all,
What part of 106?
from the car wash to the country club, that small section where it's all rough and
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Still on the capital plan, is there anything that you guys have listed in bond?
We have just the road
Well,
money, the
the
150,000 road maintenance,
Okay.
and then not under, town money, but we are looking at purchasing the recycling truck.
And the selectmen are having that,
They met with them last Tuesday. Was it last Tuesday?
yeah.
Regarding the recycling truck.
okay, and they
I-
seem to
I
support
believe
it,
they're-
or?
I believe they are for it.
Yeah, I think the question simply is going to, if they're in support of buying the truck, I think they're going to need to work out how we're buying the special barrels that will go along with the truck. There's not sufficient money in the fund balance of the recycling fund to both buy the truck and the barrels at full price. The town is going to be getting a state grant to fund part of the cost of the barrels, but I think obviously you have to find the money someplace, but I think there's a sentiment of not placing that burden on the households in town, even though it's only a few dollars per household, to cover the rest of that, simply because it's the town's decision that we're going that way.
We did find out though last Tuesday that you don't need the new barrels. We can get the new truck and we can operate it with the old bins that we have. So we may end up going that way until we can afford to do something about the barrels. Or we might, there's different things we're looking at.
Okay. Would that make it so, would you still save the time, some of the time?
Yeah, because this is a crushing truck. Well,
Yeah.
you know more about it.
Compactor.
Okay.
The one we got now hauls loose, and we go in there with like a ton and a half. This one here will probably haul like 4 ton compact. So it's gonna save a lot of time and dumping and everything.
Anything on the cemetery side of things that you can think of?
No?
Alright, so let's do the cemetery then. Line 93, cemetery superintendent salary is $10,305, it's level funded. Line 94 is cemetery wages, it's $67,809, it's an increase of $200, I'm assuming that's a step.
I think that was longevity.
And then line 95, cemeteries, supplies and equipment is $5,770. So is that one? Okay. Anybody have any questions for Bob? Yes.
Okay, down the recycling center, we have on our capital plan, to replace the windows at the recycling center.
That's nothing to do with me, that's building maintenance.
Jerry's doing that.
Jerry's doing it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it still gonna cost $10,000?
Those windows, from what I understand, they're like plexiglass, and they let in all sorts of cold air, so they're trying to get real windows in there.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they're coverings for the hole rather than windows that do anything more than cover the hole.
Okay.
Just back of the envelope, I came up with 514 for roads, just between, you know, the chapter 90, the capital, and the operating budget. Do you think that'll get you there?
We have already some in the chapter 90 also.
You said that was 290 earlier?
That's what we were getting, I don't remember exactly the amount that we were getting in this year,
It's about 270.
Yeah.
Just,
Well, yeah, working it backwards, the year we're still in, we got a grant of 270, then we got a grant of 135 for the year we're in now. All that money, we've dealt with them at town meeting, that's great. At this town meeting, if the state gets its act together and passes the necessary legislation, releasing another $200 million, we can appropriate the 270 or so that would be ours in that case. If they don't get it together, then we don't do any action on the article.
So for the 405,000, how much road can you pave?
405,000? Well, the south end of 58, from the lights to the Plimpton line, is gonna be 500 something, 560,000, something like that. Don't hold me to it, but I think that's what it is.
well, it certainly takes the lion's share of the money.
Well, it takes everything.
Say that again.
It takes the lion's share of the money for roads. That one stretch.
Sandy?
Remember that we have money that is owed
The
to us
paving
by,
down
it's
58.
due from the Commonwealth
58.
for this chapter 90.
Yeah.
So it's, right now, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's close to $1 million we have in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so.
So that's what he's going to do. He's gonna make a proposal to the state. We wanna spend $576,000 to do Route 58. They approve the project, he gets the roads paved, and they reimburse us the money. So that's why it's important to keep getting this money in every year, but we do have some money already there that the state
Okay.
owes us, so.
So then is that including the 405 from this year, the million, approximately?
It includes what we got appropriated for 15, but not what's getting appropriated for 16.
It would include the 405
Right.
for the year we're in.
So then we would assume that we're gonna get like another 270, 250,
We can hope.
270?
Again, assuming that the state passes the necessary legislation, we'll have that money, yes.
Okay. Back up to 594-ish. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for Bob? Thank you.
That was easy, wasn't it, Bob? It's nice to see you, though.
Yeah, have a nice day.
You want some motions on all of them, get it done?
We have another appointment, 7:30. It's Ray.
Can I find out?
Okay.
I did talk to the council on aging.
Okay. Well then, let's do a couple before, the meeting with South Coast Legal Services. Unless you're not here for South
Council
Coast.
on Aging.
She's here for the council on aging.
Okay. Okay, so let's go through some motions, then, Peg, you got some?
On the highlights?
Sure.
Okay. I move, we recommend the highway surveyor's salary at $68,798.
68.
$68,798.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
I would move, aye. I would,
Unanimous?
I moved it.
Wow.
I move the highway wages at $284,110.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
I would move the highway clerical line at $38,981.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous?
I move that we approve highway expense at $4,971. Should we, is that the one that
No,
has
the
the
next one.
electricity?
The next one.
Okay.
Is
Anyway.
there a
I move
second?
that.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. Skip the next one then.
So I move we hold
Yep.
bar maintenance. Okay. I move that we approve the highway equipment line at $48,500.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
I move that we approve the highway town roads line item at $74,355.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 It's unanimous.
Okay, I move we approve the highway snow and ice line item at $177,509.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
I move that we approve the streetlights account.
Hold that one and the next one.
We're gonna hold those two.
Okay, hold. Hold. Okay, hold. So I move that we approve the tree warden's salary at $3,500.
No, at $1.
Oh, that's $1.
Yep.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous.
Tree maintenance, I move that we approve the line item at $3,500.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And I move that we approve the insect and pest control line at $1.
Second.
Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And that's only $1 because we need someone who's licensed.
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous. All right, so
Finance committee.
Yep. come on up. We're ready for you.
I'm sorry.
Is that all right?
Sorry, I'm here.
Yep.
Good evening.
So you're from the South Coastal Legal Service?
Yes, my name is Raymond Yox. I'm the managing attorney of the Hyannis Office of South Coastal County's Legal Services.
Stu, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Stu Hall.
I'm Peg Fitzgerald.
Gordon Andrews.
Linda Brigham.
And I'm Kendra Cole.
Hi.
So thank you for coming tonight.
Thank you.
So do you want to give us a little bit of information on what you're looking for from the town and?
Sure. So our organization has received funding from the town of Halifax for quite a number of years. We've asked for $3,500 in our grant application this year, and our petitions submitted and the application. But what South Coastal County's Legal Services is a provider of free legal services to people of low income and also the elderly. So low income, we're generally talking about people who are, our guidelines call for 200% of the federal poverty level or lower. And for elderly, we're talking about people aged 60 or over. And we provide free legal services. If you're eligible for our services, you can get them at no cost to you. And our organization serves all of southeastern Massachusetts. We serve Bristol County, Plymouth County, Barnstable, Dukes, Nantucket, Townsend, Norfolk County, actually, you got it. So, people can contact us usually by telephone or come to our offices. We have offices in Brockton, Fall River, and Hyannis. First step is usually an intake process to determine that they're eligible, they are low income, that they are elderly. After a financial determination, we look at the legal problem. Our organization provides certain types of legal services, not every type of legal service. We don't provide attorneys in criminal matters. We don't provide attorneys in what we call fee-generating types of cases. We don't bring lawsuits normally for money damages. It's mostly in areas of law where low-income people or elderly oftentimes can't get an attorney, and therefore when they try to enter the justice system or are looking for some type of legal help, maybe are disadvantaged because they just can't afford the cost of legal assistance. It's very expensive. Attorneys charge a lot of money. So for somebody who's low income or elderly, oftentimes due to their income, they can't really afford legal help when they really need it. And we find that access to justice really requires that people have access to an attorney to make the system, legal system, a fair system. So our program prioritizes our resources to provide assistance in areas, like I said, that normally low-income people and elderly can't afford attorneys for. Those areas are in the area of housing, public benefits, family law. We do some consumer work, some immigration work, and some help with education cases. So for housing, we're talking about mostly helping tenants facing loss of their housing through evictions, having landlord-tenant issues, trying to keep up the condition of their unit. Mostly it has to do with potential evictions. People in Halifax have access to the housing court. If a landlord wants to evict them, they have to go to court to remove them. It's that case that most people aren't going to be able to, if you're a tenant, you're going to be able to afford an attorney to represent them in housing court. And there's a lot of rights that pertain to the tenants that landlords can't just give anybody. They have to follow certain rules and requirements. And our program tries to help tenants preserve their rights and be able to stay or keep or maybe successfully move from housing so that they don't face a crisis of just total loss of housing. For public benefits, our services are mostly helping people get certain access to entitlement programs that the government provides, such benefits as Social Security disability benefits, SSI, which is a form of a disability benefit, unemployment compensation, the different welfare benefits, temporary to families with dependent children, the general relief that Massachusetts provides, food stamps, men's health. People will apply for these benefits. If they're eligible, they should get them. Sometimes they apply and a government agency may say you're not eligible and deny them those benefits. But because they are an entitlement program, they have a right to challenge that decision by the government that you're not eligible, and you know, can actually go to like a hearing before the administrative law judge challenging their denial of benefits. So we do a lot of cases involving people applying for certain types of public benefits, mostly unemployment and social security types of benefits, where they've applied, they've been denied, and they're appealing these decisions denying them benefits. I talk about public benefits, that's where our representation lies. In family court, or family matters, family law matters, most of our assistance is provided to people who are victims of domestic violence. So we help them go into the probate and family courts to get protective orders, restraining orders that keep their abuser away, then maybe seek custody and visitation orders, divorce if necessary, other remedies that are available through divorce and family court proceedings, such as possession of the marital residence, division of assets, things that will help support the family going forward after there's been a crisis. So in our Hannah's office, we have 7 attorneys throughout our program. We have maybe about, I think 30 attorneys right now in our 3 offices. These attorneys are paid by the different grants that we receive, including the grant from the town of Halifax, but we get most of our money from a federal funder, the Legal Services Corporation, and a state funder, the Massachusetts Legal Assistance Corporation. They provide our biggest grants. And with the grants that we receive, we hire staff, and that staff, mostly attorneys, provide these legal services to people in need. And again, people in need who are looking for our services contact us, go through an intake process to determine that they're eligible, that they have a legal services problem that we can handle. They're divided into the areas where they serve, so actually somebody from Halifax could probably receive an attorney either from Hyannis for low income or from Brockton if they're elderly. And if they're determined eligible and have a civil legal services type of case that we would handle, that attorney would meet with that client, as any attorney could help a client talk about their legal problem and try to discuss and figure out the strategy that best serves them with whatever legal problem they're facing. Again, within the areas of what we consider our priorities. And again, we do provide some assistance with people seeking help with immigration issues, some consumer matters, people with like deep in debt and seeking bankruptcy, and education matters. I'm referring to mostly helping students who are in public education, either facing student disciplinary actions. Sometimes students who are going to be suspended for more than 10 days have a right to counsel, and also students who are in special education. Their parents have certain special rights to get certain special education services and have an appeal process if they don't feel the school district is providing them with the appropriate educational resources for their disabled child. So we provide some legal assistance in those areas also. But the primary areas are family law, housing, and public benefits. Besides our staff attorneys, we also are able to enlist some support from the private bar. A lot of private lawyers are willing to provide their services pro bono. We coordinate those services. We keep a panel of, invite attorneys to enlist with us to get on this panel of pro bono attorneys. So sometimes if we don't have enough staff to take all the cases, which we really don't. I mean, the demand for our services is huge. We probably turn away somewhere close to 2/3 of the cases that come to us because we just don't have enough staff, we don't have enough funding to take all the cases that are contacting us. But we can leverage some of the work that we do with the help of the private bar that's willing to volunteer and take cases on a pro bono basis. So sometimes if we don't have an attorney and it's a good case, we can refer them to attorneys who are willing to accept cases from us pro bono, don't charge a fee, and provide the type of legal services we're trying to provide that client on a pro bono basis. And we have a coordinator up in our Fall River office that coordinates those efforts. So I think we're a very vital service to the community throughout the region, but in Halifax particularly. We've been doing this for quite a number of years. We've been very grateful funding from the town of Halifax over quite a number of years. I believe it's been on 15, 20 years that we've been getting this grant from the town of Halifax, and you know, we hope to be able to continue to receive this to help your most neediest residents receive the legal services that they may need from time to time. The grant is that we request is $3,500. It's not a lot of money. Most people probably couldn't even, in one case, couldn't hire an attorney for $3,500. You know, we try to represent any time. Well, like, in the course of a year, we probably get anywhere from 5 to 15, maybe sometimes even up to 20 clients from the town of Halifax to represent. Last couple of years, I think the number's been a little bit low, but I think we can do better. And I think you know, this funding really helps us reach those people of Halifax who are in most need. And I think you'll see the numbers; they're kind of like an aberration at times. They go down, they go up, they go down, they go up. But although it's kind of low right now, I think we can actually see more clients coming in the future. Our program has gone through some changes in recent years. We've gone through several mergers. There are several programs in southeastern Massachusetts, but they've all been combined into one big program now called South Coastal Commons Legal Services. We're the only provider of free legal services to low-income people and the elderly in southeastern Massachusetts. There used to be a program called Legal Services for Cape Cod and Islands, Southeastern Massachusetts Legal Assistance Corporation, and the new Center for Legal Advocacy. They've all been merged into this one big program that helps, you know, meet all the needs. In the late like 2008, 2009, with the financial collapse that was happening, we lost a lot of our funding. We had layoffs, closed offices. We got a lot smaller. We're starting slowly to rebound. The program's getting a little bit bigger, and you know, going forward, in a better position now to help people in our communities throughout southeastern Massachusetts to get legal assistance for their legal needs. So.
Beck?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand. Did you say that you're asking for $3,500 again this year?
Yes.
Okay, that's a level funded from last year.
Right.
Okay, do you give any kind of a report to the town as to what services you've provided the residents during the course of a year? You know, not the detail, but any kind of a report at all?
Yeah, I mean, I know we submitted with our grant application. I think we give quarterly reports with our invoice. Kind of
How's that handled?
They do send us quarterly reports, so every 3 months. You know, it's not as if they handle 100 people every quarter, but
Right.
whatever number they do, they'll show us how many they dealt with in this particular type of situation or that one or whatever.
Yeah, that's
So,
all I was
yeah.
interested in, what they, you know, reporting to the town.
So our report usually talks about how many people we served, what types of legal problem they had, what type of level of service we provided, you know, how many cases we opened, how many cases we closed, and some demographic information about their age, their gender, their ethnicity.
Good. Okay.
That's all my questions.
Anybody else have any questions?
I was just curious, are you able to use paralegals, or is it strictly all attorneys?
We have paralegals. Most of the staff that actually do what we call intake, which is when people call up to go through the questions to determine if they're financially eligible, determine what their legal problem is, and sometimes even give advice over the phone, like people with an emergency circumstance, you know, to be able to identify that emergency and maybe give some immediate legal assistance on the phone. The people who are doing intake are paralegals. Okay, we use paralegals in different senses maybe than most law firms, and we do have this one paralegal still that actually provides representation in administrative hearings, which we talk about us helping people get public benefits. And when you represent somebody in an administrative proceeding before like an administrative body or an administrative law judge, you don't have to be an admitted attorney to represent somebody in those types of proceedings. So paralegals can do that type of work, and we've had like long-standing paralegals that do that type of work and are quite successful in helping litigants get the different types of public benefits through this hearing process. So yeah, we do have paralegals. Not a lot. I think in recent years we've just decided that you know, even though paralegals are helpful, it's better to have an attorney as opposed to a paralegal. So if we can afford an attorney, we prefer to hire a new attorney broader abilities to do more things.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me the chance to speak to you tonight. Sorry, I was 2 minutes late.
That's okay. It's a long drive from my
I'm
end.
driving. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks again.
Thank you.
So, sorry we're running a little late, but Barbara?
So, you want me to move that line item?
Oh, it's a warrant article.
I know, but we have to do it.
We do.
The capital plan has decided it's not their responsibility, so we would have to approve it. Because it's not capital improvement. It has nothing to do with capital improvement.
Then why don't we wait then? We'll talk about that after the appointment.
I was gonna say, he's right, they've been around for years and they're a wonderful program, we refer people there all the time, so. Excellent, they used to run out of Barrister Hall in Brockton, I think they just moved in up the street, but it's a great program.
So, let's get to the old ones. Okay, so council,
Item
120.
19.
120.
What about 119, 120, yeah.
Okay, so 120 is council and agent wages. It's listed at $173,263. It's an increase of $3,820. And
Does that include more hours, or are they just steps and
Yeah, just the steps and,
One
longevity?
extra day.
yeah, one longevity, yeah. And what was your figure, Gordon? Can you just, no, sorry,
sure, 173,
yeah,
263,
okay.
and then no.
Outreach worker on job for 16 years. Not sure there it goes off.
At this time, whether retirement is taking place, I had a talk with her and she's not able to tell me if
Okay.
she's gonna be retiring, you know. Not able to give me an answer one way or the other, so she hasn't made her mind up yet, I guess.
Okay. So that's steps in the day listed.
Yeah.
Okay. And then line 121 is council on aging expense. That's $8,880.
Yeah, I level funded again, because I know the town's having trouble, we'll do the best we can, and it's been this way for almost 5 years, so we have to be pretty creative and, which we are, we do the best we can, if I have to ask for a reserve fund transfer, I will, but hopefully we won't. Both the vans are fairly new, you know, in the past 2 years, so I'm hoping that will be okay, but, well, as you know, everything's going up, so it makes it hard, you know, but we should be able to do it.
Electricity is his own line for you guys, 122.
Yeah,
What about that? Is that something that we should hold?
The Pope's Tavern electricity, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on.
It was pretty close last year, so I don't wanna cut it anymore.
Well, Barbara, don't worry, they're not planning on cutting electricity.
Okay,
They're
I just
planning on,
mean,
they're planning on bumping it up.
okay, great. That might be a good idea. Especially over there in that building. Well, it was cut 2 years ago, so that's why
Well, with the rates, what we said is if the rates go up, we expect the usage to stay the same, so
yeah.
to increase the amount for the rate increase. And that's what we're doing townwide.
So Charlie, when do you think you'll have the new figures for
By
all the
Wednesday.
electricity accounts?
For your meeting on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Pardon?
This meeting Wednesday.
Wednesday? Oh, good, good, okay.
Okay, and then the items on the capital plan, you have window replacement.
Yeah, there's a number of those I have to go through with you guys because, you know, that's building maintenance. I just put a lot of these in so you would see the need.
Yep.
But all the windows, definitely, Jerry Elliott, his crew. So they take care of that. The carpeting, I know it's our turn for carpeting, but again, I just wanted everybody to see the need. And our turn this year, I think the library was last year.
I don't see the carpeting.
Yeah, I don't have
No, it's not.
carpeting listed on all this.
Okay.
It was under 2015, carpeting 3 rooms, downstairs 2000.
Oh, I think she's talking about the 5-year plan
Here's the
that
list.
was
Oh,
given
okay.
to us a while
Here's the
ago.
list that Jerry had.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sandy.
Yeah.
Sandy has her hand up.
Oh, Sandy,
It didn't make Jerry's list for this year.
didn't make,
I was
okay.
just looking
Yeah.
at it. Yeah.
I know that he had it as one of the things that were needed, but it did not make his list for this year's articles.
Right.
So that means we're not gonna get a turn this year.
Oh, yeah, that's what it means.
Okay.
Oh,
He
So keep it
promised
in
me
mind.
last year.
Keep it in mind.
We do, we have this huge horrible spot that's been there for like 4 years now, but anyways.
Sorry, I missed the last meeting, so just reading Jerry's list now.
This is Jerry's list,
Okay.
and they're in the order of his priority.
Importance.
Yeah.
Linda, can you pass that to, Gordon, please? So we have some copies.
Okay, so the COA is not listed on any of Jerry's items. There's top 7. Is that correct? I'm just
I
double-
have his list.
Correct.
That's correct.
Okay, so the list that we have from the capital plan was COA window replacement for 2,000. COA replace dining room chairs with 24 stackable chairs, 2,200. Council on Aging, 2 computers for 3,000. Next one, Council on Aging, phone
The phone system.
system, 7 phones, 3,200.
Okay, prioritize those. Which is the most important?
The phones, because I have an article going on and, I can give you some information because I've been working with Tony at the police station and we've, got the fee down to $2,000 actually.
The estimate we have is 3,200.
Yeah, well, it was originally, I'm sorry, it was 2,900. But these are Centrics, like what the police station has. So I have 4 copies, this one's mine. And actually the,
I can share.
yeah, whatever you guys want to do. Have one,
Well, sure.
You guys can share and then I can just keep mine, so.
Okay.
We're set up for Centrics, like the police station, so I'm able to cut.
They should probably understand it better.
They're very
And actually, I had this on last year, but because of the sports lounge trying to buy that, I took everything off. So this was one of the things I took off, because our phones have been in dire straits for a long time. They're all different phone systems there, no 2 are alike, and, but anyways, this is a Centrix, and, 7 of them, will be approximately, $524.93. We'll get free shipping and handling because it's over 500. They will bill us and we'll receive them within 30 days. And what else? The estimated cost actually is from last year from Dan Brown and about $970. So it should be right around the same price he told me as far as wiring and putting in the jacks. And the only other cost in there is about, it shouldn't go any more than $150. We need a new line because I have the Shine counselor who helps a lot of people throughout the year, who's a volunteer. She's not even a paid position. She has to borrow my phone now. So when she's there for 3 or 4 hours once a week, she has my phone in the other room. So, we need a new line going in that room and, for her to use. So she'll have her own phone and she won't have to come and take mine.
Okay, so what's the total cost
The
now?
total cost is, we're going a little
Now.
high, $2,000.
How much?
$2,000, so it
Okay.
went from 2,900 to 2,000, and hopefully if all goes well, we'll be able to give some money back.
Okay, so 2,000 is the cost for the total,
Yeah.
phone system? Because the original figure we had was 3,200.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, yeah, it should have been 2,900.
So it's down from 2,900 to
Yes.
2,000?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good. Very good, Barbara, thank you. How about, Sandy, what about, I can ask you, what about the capital planning committee? Where do they place that on there?
We were waiting to hear
Sandy.
from
We
Laura.
didn't place them, Peg, because we've been told these smaller articles are not the jurisdiction of capital planning. So we did not put these in a priority order.
Okay, so now, who's going for that?
You did,
We did.
you did.
You specifically, Peg? You specifically, Peg.
Me, okay. Actually, I looked at what the selectmen's
That's right,
authorization
you
was
did.
to the
Yep.
committee,
Mm-hmm.
and I just told you
No,
what that was.
right, and you're absolutely right. So we didn't prioritize the smaller articles because that is the jurisdiction of the finance committee.
Okay,
But-
now, what was the line for smaller articles?
I was saying with a little give about anything under 5,000. Like we did prioritize one that was at a couple that were a little smaller, but, usually capital planning items are $5,000 or more. What do you
5,000
consider?
5,000 or 10,000?
I thought it was 5, you get 10? Charlie's saying 10.
Yeah, okay.
So,
We put it,
alright, so that you had, Stu's got a question, and then,
Yeah, I, just real quick, the request is for 2,000, and I guess I'm missing a piece. The electrician is 970, and the 7 phones are 525. That gets me to 1495.
Then it's 150 for the new line coming in. And we're kind of figuring a little bit high, just in case the laborer has to stay an extra hour or two, so I'm putting it high at 2,000, you know, as a round figure, and capped it at 2. Cause you never know what's gonna happen there, have a believe me, so. And I'd rather have enough than not enough, so.
okay, then you have, so you have the 2 computers, the phone system, and now you have computer network, interface, and backup at,
Yeah, we still don't even have any backup over there, so if anything happens, you know, and at one time, I know we were talking about getting all the departments backed up, but we're not even backed up over there, so that's kind of scary.
Sandy.
the capital planning committee didn't have a chance to talk to Barbara. The member who was her liaison had been trying to get in touch with her and wasn't able to get through on her phone system, so I agree her phone system is important. But we did have a question on the computers. I know that you're part of Charlie's data processing plan, so you came up with 2 computers for $3,000. I didn't know if you had a pricing on that, Barbara, or where you came
Well,
up
you
with
know
that?
what, I'm basing it, cause I got a laptop, about a year and a half ago, and it was about 1,400, you know, for everything, and then to come in and hook it up and set it up, so that's what I kind of
Cool.
based it on.
Who's them came in?
Whoever we had Charlie at the
Terminal
time,
Exchange.
Terminal, yeah. But right now, I could use one because, the outreach computer is just, yeah. When we have problems, honest to God, every other week with printers, computers, what have you, they're all mismatched. So one I could definitely use right now,
Okay, so one is what?
1,400, or 1,500 is what.
1,500, okay.
So then, computer network interface and backup, what is that quote?
Oh, so they're all, the quote or,
Yeah, what's the 1350, what does that entail?
can you see what we got?
COA computer network interface and backup, 1350.
I have backup drives, in service, all computers, I have $700. And what do you have?
That was from your original list to us,
Oh.
Barbara.
Okay. Yeah, I had, a quote, and I think Charlie, helped me with that, and,
Basically, I think what we will need to spend money either for them to get fully networked into our main servers here so that their records are backed up, also so that they can look at each other's files, so that one computer they can share files and such. The second possibility is that we put in a permanent box there to act as a backup server there for their computers.
Okay, so they're not,
Right now,
VPN connection between.
there's nothing nada.
So is the final figure 1350?
she was kind of, data processing, wasn't she? Yes, I would say so. I think that's about what it would probably cost,
What,
$13.50.
but what does that entail?
Well, the backup drives and the service, to be able to do all that. We have two computers in, the direct outreach office. There's one outside of that, for the public in the computer class, and then we have another one in the reception office, so, and they're all in different rooms, except for two of them.
And are they all on the internet? All of them are on the
Yes.
internet?
Yes, yep.
So I would think that we could look at whatever service we're using and tie those in. That's not gonna be 1350 to do that.
One way or the other, we'll need to spend money to do something.
Yeah,
Backups for all of them, and,
yeah, when
interface and,
yeah,
you know, 'cause it's a lot of information, especially on mine with the budget on there and everything else. I just have to put it on the flip drive, but God forbid if anything were to happen, you know. We're lucky nothing's happened. We really are.
okay, the next item is 36,000 for limited access elevated for safety of seniors.
Yeah, again, I'm just, reminding everybody about the needs over there. I mean, I can't tell you the number of seniors that can't even get up the stairs anymore. They won't, go to oil painting class or, sewing, quilting, whatever is up there, and the ones that do complain all the time. So, I know Jerry, had looked at a chair, again, he has a priority list, so I'm not even sure we'll get that. And this figure is from the, project manager that we hired a year and a half ago. Again, just so that you don't forget about what we need over there.
And then the next item is council on aging 2,200 square foot room, 660,000.
And that's just space, again, that was from the project manager that we hired.
Is that from the project manager or the new architect?
The architect, that's right, yeah. Mhm.
And is that on the capital plan or no? It's not listed?
Yeah, I think I did put it.
We didn't put it in a priority order yet.
Okay.
What's Sandy?
We did not put it in a priority order yet.
Okay. Sandy, what about the elevator? I have a mark here. Is that on your list?
I have it on my list, but we haven't put it in a priority order yet.
It's not a priority.
We haven't put it, no.
Okay.
in order to put it in, we're not, I'm not sure it can go on the steep stairs that are in there, and whether more work would have to be done. The building committee would have to look into that further.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we lose a lot of space if an elevator went in there.
So have you gone and met with the building committee recently to see what,
No, everything about the senior center is kind of put on hold with them, you know, there hasn't been a lot of support, so it's been very difficult, so. If there was more support, I'd be there in a second, you know, but, so I just keep it in here so we don't forget, you know. And like I said, Jerry's already put in, 3 quotes for the chairlift to go up there, but then even if we do that, we're gonna lose space on the side where our intake and referral is for all the information. And I can't tell you the number of people that we have to help up there now still. You know, we drop everything we're doing to help them up the stairs because God forbid if they fell, the town would have a lawsuit on their hands, you know, so. It's just important that we keep it in here and remember, you know, for safety issues.
anybody have any other questions?
I will comment that the town simply has to do something about providing some more decent quarters for the Council on Aging. What we have at Pope's Tavern is just not sufficient, and in my opinion, is not even a good basis to work up from. You know, I don't think Pope's Tavern is the answer to the Council on Aging.
I know the seniors today, you know, that's why the town's where it is right now, because they sacrificed. They did, and this is the only entity that's left, and nobody seems to be supportive of it. You know, we need to take care of our seniors. You know, we have brand new senior centers all around us everywhere. I can't even begin to tell you, so, it was too bad that the sports lounge didn't go through, because that would have been an answer to a lot of the spacing issues, you know. So, we're just looking for support to continue, you know.
Did you want to say anything, or?
I would just like to say that being a senior in this town, I feel I'm a second-rate citizen, unfortunately. Because of the town has no support for seniors that I can see. I'm over there almost every single day. And there's a lot of people that would love to come, and there is no room for the things that they want to do. And they're very active people, and what they do is stay home and sit in front of the television instead. It's unfortunate.
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thank you, Pat.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, do you want to finish the cemetery?
Oh, sure. Open this one.
93?
Yep, 93.
Okay. I would move, $10,000 for the cemetery superintendent's salary.
10,305 or 10,000?
Oh, wait a minute. 10,305.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous.
I move, for cemetery wages, $67,809.
I'll second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And for cemetery, aye. For heaven's sakes, I'll give you a whole bag of ayes and you just take them out.
It's unanimous.
Cemetery, supplies and equipment, I move at $5,770.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
You want to go through recycling?
Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
actually.
It's 108. It's just the next, just skip over Public Works.
Alright.
You want me to move it?
You're doing such a great job.
Hmm?
You're just doing such a
Okay,
great.
okay. I move recycling office clerical at $27,218.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Unanimous?
I move recycling office expense at $2,890.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Unanimous?
I move the recycling center wages at $78,442.
So do we know what that increase is?
Pardon?
Do we know what the increase is for the wages?
In wages, I believe it is
Steps,
steps
lunches.
and
Days.
the day.
Steps.
Trying to get that. This is another one of the departments that we did build in the holiday pay,
Okay.
because we have those Friday holidays. And because they're open limited hours, we really can't not have them there on the days that they're
Yeah.
supposed to be there.
Okay. So, you seconded it?
Yeah, second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, unanimous?
I move recycling
Expense.
center expense at $12,335.
12?
Wait a minute, did I skip something?
Yeah, you did. It's 24,400.
You skipped the recycling center. Does expense have,
Oh, wait a second, yeah, I move recycling center
That-
expense
that
at
has a-
$24,400.
that one has electricity, why don't we
Yeah,
hold that
yeah.
one?
Hold that one?
Yep.
And then I move hazardous waste collection at $12,335.
I'll second that.
Do we know what the big increase was there for hazardous waste?
We have that picked up by an outside contractor, and I believe it's an increase in his prices.
Okay. Okay,
Oh, no, it's, yeah, the CRT disposal has increased specifically.
okay.
Shouldn't be too many of those left. Well, it's.
I still have some.
And probably
Those
on
great
monitors
TVs.
upstairs, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further comments?
Wait a
questions?
second, now that's on hazardous waste collection, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous?
And I move the trash collection and disposal at $365,180.
Oh, next
Yeah.
one up. You read also.
You're right, $219,902.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's unanimous. Okay. So we get a hold on that one. Okay.
Well, while we're on that page, do you want to go down to Council on the Aging? The one?
Sure. Okay.
Line 120.
I would move the council on aging wages at $173,263.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
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 It's unanimous.
And I would move council on aging expense at $8,880.
8,000.
$8,880.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye. And we
Skip.
put a hold on
Yep.
folks having electricity.
Yep.
Now,
Did you guys do
what about
veterans agent?
veterans agents? Sandy, what's the current recommendation on what we should be doing about benefits?
The benefits, I had originally put in 150,000 and currently I'm
I'm
thinking we're
sorry,
going,
I can't hear you.
sorry. I believe we're gonna have to increase it to 190,000 for benefits.
For veterans benefits? What did, okay, what was the?
190.
Well,
190.
well, depending on what she,
That's what she's recommending.
I did discuss it with the agent. He's picked up some new benefits that he has to pay. And I know we're gonna be asking for more money this year. So with an estimate for next year, that's what we're going with, 190,000.
Do you remember what the estimated reserve fund request you think is gonna be?
I believe the reserve fund request is going to be 10,000, that should be, oh, 12,000, all right,
12,000?
yeah.
So can you just note that on that list?
We talked about it, yes. I already thought we talked about it.
Okay.
we wanna do the level funded agent salary.
Sure.
Yeah, we could start at the beginning.
Sure.
I move the veterans agent salary at $1,269.
No.
13,
No.
Where am I? Oh, $13,968.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Veterans agent expense, that line item, I would move at $1,269.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye?
Aye. And for veterans benefits, I would move Sandy's recommendation of $190,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. Do you wanna do the next two? Unless you
Yeah.
already did them?
I would move the housing authority at $1,
Second.
just to keep it open.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
It's
And I
unanimous.
would move the ADA expense at $1.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye?
That's the American with Disability Act, incidentally. Aye.
It's unanimous. Alright, so Paul is here, so we're gonna talk about Silver Lake's budget.
Your favorite topic?
My favorite topic, you know. So at
No,
the,
we had water in, I was not present, but I did read the minutes, so do you wanna move the water department?
do you wanna go to, Paul is here, so do you wanna talk about Silver Lake, or do you wanna do that?
Oh, we'll talk about Silver Lake.
So,
I was gonna stop some sort.
okay, Paul, would you mind moving? So let's see if my papers fell out of order. Here's this one. So they released a new draft of items that the Building and Ground Committee met. And they listed new items for their plan. That added up out of E&D to be $516,000. So those items are $24,000 to do the building envelope evaluation of the junior high and high school.
What's that for?
$24,000 to have an engineer come in and check out the two buildings.
For what?
Because they're at the 10-year mark and they wanna have them reviewed to make sure the building's being
Did we do that on any of the elementary schools?
I don't know, Charlie, you.
Well, I'll take it in two parts. One is that, in fact, all three towns have been going back to Silver Lake and saying, you need to put together a capital plan. Well, until you work out what you need, you can't work it into the plan. One of the ways of finding out what you need is to do that visual inspection of the building envelope, seeing what needs to be done. We've never done that formally in the sense of brought somebody in, for instance, for our elementary school. We've done that informally through our Board of Health, through our building inspector and such, and all those results have been given to the elementary school committee in the past along with the building committee. So both entities that might have anything to do with a building project are well aware, even though we haven't done something formally, by bringing a third party in. What Silver Lake is requesting is money as part of this year's funding for its capital plan to bring somebody in, get that done, so they can work on coming up with a better list for future years.
Okay. Thank you.
So the next item is repair and resurface the track at $120,000. Next item is repair and resurface the tennis courts at $30,000. Next is repair structural and random parking lot cracks, $11,000. Repair Serica Field lighting at $20,000. Safety and security items are additional indoor and outdoor cameras for $22,000. A two-way radio system for $22,000.
What's that for?
To be able to talk between buildings and with the fire and police.
What were the cameras again? What are the numbers?
$22,000.
On the cameras as well?
Yes.
So the radios were also 22?
Yes.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay, what was the item after the fields?
And so after the fields were indoor, well,
Cameras.
additional indoor and outdoor cameras for $22,000.
I assume that's the security?
Yes, it is. Hey, you have my copy.
Well, that's
Is that yours? This is yours?
Yeah, you can have it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
so this was, they talked about mainly the middle school for the adding the cameras and the
The high school parking lot?
yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds right. And then the next item was replacing the accounting system for $90,000. Then under technology, it was the middle school core switch and high school core switch. That's $120,000.
Well, tell me what that is.
So that's the switching network for the infrastructure.
How's it, I don't know what you mean.
So every time that there's all the wires set up throughout the school and all the wireless infrastructure, and all that infrastructure gets run to a couple of different switches, physical devices that move packets from one device to another. So they want to replace those. And then-
So, yeah, for instance, each computer here at Town Hall is connected to the internet. But the only way it's connected to the internet is that all of the cables go into the computer room. And in the computer room, there's a physical box, like Gordon said, with a lot of slots, a lot of holes, where the physical wires go into, and then there's a wire coming out of that, connecting that whole box, and then all the terminals, all the computers, into the internet.
Would you think that has to be replaced in 10 years for a 10-year-old building?
I don't know. I know it has to be replaced periodically. I can't give you a time frame as how often it needs to be replaced.
Have we had ours changed in 10 years?
No, but we don't have anything changed in 10 years.
We what?
We never change anything until we have a catastrophic failure.
So that's $120,000.
So this, I'll tell you, this list looks like a wish list, not a real needs list. But anyway. Go ahead.
That's $120,000, and that's with a 50 cent, 50 cent, 50%,
Yeah.
50% reimbursement. So there's a grant that the technology director applied for to receive 50% of the costs. So the 120 is actually 240
Right.
total.
Right.
Then there's the high school language lab, which is technology upgrade of 49,000, and Wi-Fi upgrades for 8,000. So when you add up all those items, it adds up to 516,000.
And that will come from your current E&D account,
Yes.
not the E&D account. Well, actually, you know, there was a lump sum of money that was released.
So I can,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
so currently certified E&D. As of July 1st, 2014, the E&D balance is $1,093,280. It was a check from Pembroke, or checks. They totaled $917,202. Then there's the fund balance designated for Pembroke that's been in the town report for the last 10 years.
Okay, that was the E&D that we held because we didn't know whether or not, well, we held it because they weren't paying us, and so we held their share of that last E&D. Is that what that is?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Then there's the power purchase agreement, which is $155,000. Now, this amount is for this fiscal year. In the next fiscal year, they're using that as an operating revenue.
Okay,
Just
what, this 155?
Yes.
Okay, explain to me what it is.
So they signed a power purchase agreement to purchase electricity.
Oh, one of those solar,
Yes.
okay,
With
field?
yes, a development in Carver, I believe.
Okay,
So they're receiving $155,000 in revenue.
right,
So that was not included to be spent in this year's operating budget.
right.
So this item will be going into the excess and deficiency account for this upcoming year.
Yeah, it'll just be a receivable, right, like the shared costs to lower the.
It will be for FY16.
That's what I mean.
But not for this fiscal year.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Then
I just wondered how they were gonna do it.
Yeah.
If it's just a plain receivable, are you gonna put it into the capital plan?
Put it into the capital plan. What do you mean by that?
no, they're taking this and using this as revenue for FY16 and
Okay.
for the future years.
Okay.
They're
Yeah,
not.
it's-
You're not using it to fund the capital plan.
No,
Okay.
not at all.
So then for this fiscal year, snow and ice deficit is $160,000.
Okay,
And then they'd like to spend 500, it's 16, not 19, 516,000 on this capital plan.
okay,
And so that gives you a total of $2,414,133. Now this is estimated.
now that certainly exceeds the 5% the law allows them.
Yes.
So what are you gonna do?
There's discussions happening on that. There's a subcommittee that includes representation from all three towns, finance committee and board of selectmen talking about that.
So what they said at the Charlie, go ahead.
Okay, so we got maybe $2.8, $2.9 million total to play with. Something on that order.
2.4.
Well, if you include the 516,
Right,
Oh, okay,
Total-
let's start at the beginning.
start at the gross, okay.
Okay,
1.2 is gonna sit in E&D. At the end of the year, no matter, they're gonna have more than 1.2 million, but 1.2 million at the end of the year is gonna sit in E&D. So we're still playing with 1.7. 500,000 is gonna go into the capital plan. You're down to 1.2. 1.2 gets distributed amongst the three towns. So we get maybe 400, 450, something like that. But we'll see that in this sequence. The original assessment's gonna go out. They won't include that 450 because we'll get there, but the original assessments will go out. We'll vote the original assessments in May without any E&D money aside from that being used for the capital plan.
okay, Charlie. In the assessment for Silver Lake,
Yes.
we will have the operating figure we have, and added to that, we will have the 516 for the capital plan.
correct.
With the understanding they will be paying that from E&D?
Yes,
Okay. But do they plan to distribute money to the towns?
yes, in this fashion. What will happen is they need to have the E&D figures certified before any of the money gets distributed. They send out the financial statements from Silver Lake to the state in mid-October. We've already set our tax rate. We
Right.
set our tax rate October 1st.
Right.
So we've already done our budget, everything's done. In mid-November, they get from the state the certified number saying, yes, here's the number. Oh, by the way, you got more than $1.2 million in your E&D account. You got to send some of it back. What they'll do then is send a notice out to the 3 towns saying, you know that assessment we told you about in May? It's a little bit less. In our case, let's say $450,000 less.
Wait a minute. Charlie, the way the law reads, when the when the money is certified and it's over the 5%, the excess has to be distributed to the towns.
It's not, there won't be,
make plans to spend it.
no, they're not spending it. We do not get a check, either electronically or physically. Our assessment goes down by that amount. So they're going to be bringing in less money to balance that off.
Yes, but that means the towns have no choice as to whether or not this should be spent or not.
Well,
because they
no,
do it within
okay,
their budget.
we're going to end up at the end of fiscal 16 with a surplus of $450,000. That's our share. We get, in essence, the
I
surplus.
understand that.
Yeah.
Well, Peg, doesn't the decision come at town meeting?
Pardon?
I didn't mean to interrupt you, Charlie. I think what you're getting at is the 516,000. That decision's made at town meeting, whether the town supports us taking that money from E&D or whether they don't.
No, I'm saying
Yeah.
that even if it supports it, it takes it out of your E&D after you've distributed this
No.
excess.
No.
No.
First thing happens, even before anything's certified, is they're going to take $516,000 out of E&D before anything's certified. That money's gone. Over here, we're using it for that capital project list.
So the state is taking the 550?
No, the state is not taking the 516. Silver Lake and the 3 towns, by voting this budget, will take the 516 out.
Well, yes, but shouldn't they take it out after the distribution
No.
is figured?
Because the distribution won't be figured until the middle of November. We're voting it
Oh,
now.
the middle of this coming November?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what happens in November? We get the notice from Silver Lake saying your assessments are in our case, $400,000 to $450,000 less than we budgeted. At that point, we could have a town meeting in mid-November and spend that money, in essence, transfer it out of the Silver Lake line item and spend it on capital projects, not operating, obviously. We don't want to go down that road. That's one possibility. If we want to just hold on to it, so to speak, just let it sit, we
would probably put it in stabilization,
well,
right?
at any town meeting, we're going to have 3 choices: November, or May, or the following May. Here's why. In November, we'll know that we have a surplus in the assessment line item of $400,000 to $450,000. At that time, we could have a special town meeting. We could spend the money right then for capital projects of our own. We could, as you're pointing out, put it into stabilization. We can decide not to have a town meeting and just let it sit. It's not going anywhere. We're going to end up with a surplus at the end of the year. Same thing with having a special town meeting in May. We could, at that point, instead of spending a little money to hold a town meeting in November, we wait until the special town meeting in May. We're obviously going to have a whole slew of capital projects on the list. We'd spend that Silver Lake money down in May instead of in November. Or
Right, but when they certify it, we just let it sit, but it is our money until we
but
decide
it's,
what to do.
yeah, and it's sitting with us, in essence, because we've appropriated $400,000, $450,000 more than we ended up needing to.
It's a timing issue.
So in May, that's what we can do it then. We can do it in November. We have some options about what to do with the money. Or if we don't do anything at either of those meetings, then on June 30th of 2016, that surplus goes into free cash. But we don't get that free cash certified until November or December of 16.
Right.
Traditionally in this town, we don't spend our free cash money unless it's at the May annual town meeting. So we wait until May of 17 when it's been turned into free cash, and then we spend it. My recommendation would be either we do something in November of 15, in 6 months, 9 months, when we know that the surplus is there, or we hold it until May of 16, spend it at the special town meeting. So we have several options.
Right.
Certainly not on my list is spending on operating. Don't build up a program. Don't hire new people. Don't give this mammoth pay raise to everybody. Why? Because it's a one-time receipt. We're not going to get a check from Silver Lake again like this. Ever. Well, I won't say hardly ever, because you never know. But I extremely doubt very much we'll ever see a check like this again.
Right.
So we don't spend it on operating. And Paul, I'm sorry if I'm yelling, but the problem is that
Oh, no, it's fine.
okay. So it's disturbing for some people, so
Okay, I understand. So we really have to change our assessment figure to include this capital amount.
well, no, because the capital amount is coming out of E&D. They're matching. Doesn't
That
change.
doesn't require town meeting
No,
action?
everything will come to town meeting, but the actual assessment number doesn't change by $1. There's no change. No cap, if they don't use E&D money, they don't have a capital plan. If they don't have a capital plan, they don't use E&D money.
Chad, does their spending E&D require town meeting action?
Yes,
And they
as part of the larger budget.
Right,
Well, legally it doesn't, Charlie, right? It's a decision.
No, well, individually, E&D doesn't, we don't make that, but the thing is the budget as a whole. If town meeting votes the assessment number that comes in, that includes the entire budget, operating and capital.
Includes the 550.
Yes,
Okay, that's what I didn't know.
yes.
Okay. Our final assessment figure will include that amount, but we understand it's coming from E&D.
Well, in fact, they will give us a revenue sheet
Yes.
showing here's the starting gross budget.
Yes,
Here are the sources we're getting the money from. Their own Chapter 70, the solar farm, tuition payments, all the other things that they get money from, along with the use of the E&D account.
okay.
Here's the net. Here's how it gets distributed among the 3 towns in terms of the assessment.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Very well.
So the next item is, we got a new version of the budget. They did version 3. So version 3 has reductions in this sheet, correct, Paul?
Yes.
So they have reductions of $128,704, okay, from version 2. They have increases of $30,501 and an increase of $60,000 for the athletic sheds. So there's a total increase of $90,000. So the net change between version 1 and version 2 is $38,203.
So
So
what
that's-
is our new assessment?
So our new assessment is $4,127,188.33. It's a decrease from FY15 of $38,667.67.
Can you repeat that, please?
Sure.
38,000.
$38,677.76.
Now, that's the assessment, but when we get the letter, it will include the capital plan. It has to, right? When we get the
The budget.
certification letter from, Silver Lake sends us a certification letter at the end of April, our assessment figure that you certify to us will include our cost of the capital plan.
Just zero.
And we just understand,
But it also references it's coming from E&D.
Right.
that's right, so
So
why?
it's included on the whole budget, Peg.
Yeah, so therefore it shouldn't really appear in our,
Well,
It doesn't affect our assessment.
I know, it shouldn't appear in our assessment because it's coming from another,
No, but when they
another
present the
source.
whole budget, it will be part of that.
Right,
And they'll show where they're getting the revenue.
okay.
so if you vote this budget, you're voting this as well. If you vote this assessment number, you're voting to agree to this as well.
Right,
Because they're funding
Right.
everything from E&D.
right, exactly right.
So, again, overall, I still have concerns that the overall budget's increasing $831,000. It's just the way it works out this year is Halifax is not being penalized for it. But when the items shift next year,
Okay, wait a second, the budget increased by how much?
$831,045.47.
$831,045.47. An increase of 6.3%. Okay. Okay. That's the basic budget.
Well, that's the total assessments. That's all the assessments.
That's all 3 times.
That's all 3 town assessments.
Oh,
That's
I thought
the
that was the budget.
No, the budget is $23,039,296
Which is an increase.
for.
Oh, they say it's an increase of only 233,000.
No, that's 2.3%.
2.3%. Well, then how come,
So
the assessments are up that much?
because they used one-time money the previous year. They used one-time money on operating expenses the previous year,
Oh, I remember.
And-
You had this conversation
Yeah.
a couple of meetings ago.
I remember.
and state aid is decreased by $130,000. So the towns are making up for the decrease in state aid. You don't want me to go back on the floor, Paul?
That was an awful meeting. I felt terrible when you hit the floor.
So, the concern that I have and others spoke up at the meeting is, there's no way that the towns can afford to do this next year. There's no way the towns can afford an $830,000 increase next year. Kingston's $768,000 increase is their Prop 2.5. So they're going up 2.5% on just their Silver Lake increase.
But they, correct me if I'm wrong, Gordon, they were supportive of the
Yeah,
budget.
they
at the
said that
meeting.
they have excess capacity enough to handle it.
Mm-hmm. And what about Plimpton?
And then Plimpton has a $191,000 increase, and that's about the size of their 2.5. And I don't think they're supportive.
Mm-hmm.
They also have excess capacity.
They also have what?
They also have excess capacity,
Oh, they do?
yes. But by taking this increase, when they ran the numbers, they don't think they'll be able to, they'll have to level fund every other department.
Oh, okay.
So year on year, it's the problem, not just
Yeah, so,
looking at it as a silo.
yeah, I mean, when you look at the number for Halifax, everything looks good this year.
Yeah,
It's just,
because the student population's down.
well, not so much the student pop. Well, yeah, that figure calculates into it, but the minimum net contribution, the amount that the state believes that the town can afford to pay, didn't increase nearly as much as the other 2 towns. It decreased, actually. When the state ran the numbers, they said that Halifax can't afford as much as we spent last year on Silver Lake. So, we can handle this for this year, but next year, we're not gonna be able to handle the increase like this. And just the teacher salaries I pointed out at the last meeting is $275,000 increase.
I mean, it's the vast majority, we say this over and over again every year at budget time and every meeting. The vast majority of the entire budget operating the school is teacher salaries.
Right. But when you look at all the other expenses, it goes back to that 2.5% of the total increase, right? If the towns can afford a 2.5% increase of this number, it ends up being like $350 for next year. And $275 of it is gonna be the salary increases for the teachers
Yeah.
without any other increases. So it was pointed out that next year, you're gonna have to make cuts at the meeting. Cause we don't see the towns are basically all burning up excess capacity this year. So I just don't see, if we don't make cuts this year, I think we're making significant cuts next year at Silver Lake.
And that may be the case, we'll have to wait and see,
Now, in the past, when your budget has been beyond the 2.5 capacity of the towns, you funded the operating budget from E&D, and that would certainly help the towns.
But that's what brought us into this problem this year, because they funded basically, they funded $335,000 last year. So this year, we're making up, if you took the difference between that, 831,
that's the difference between your 6-point-something% and the 2.33.
831.
Well, what were the sources last year that would come up with $355,000?
There was an item left on the books from when the school was built, that the money could be used for capital. It was about approximately $500,000 in that, and out of that money, $335,000 was spent.
I remember that because I remember the building committee, I was an observer of the building committee, and there was a split opinion. The opinion was that money should come back to the town anyway, because the towns voted to fund the school, and when more money came in, Silver Lake said, no, it belongs to us, we're gonna spend it for capital, just like they're doing with this money.
So-
We'll spend it on capital,
So
whether we need it or not.
it would be approximately $500,000 increase if that money wasn't used, or if that money was available this year.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be an $831,000 increase.
Yeah.
It'd be about
Well, the money is available this year, except it's being used on the capital plan. If they used it to reduce their operating, it would help out the towns that are
well,
up against the 2.5 limit. But they can't because they're gonna spend it on the capital plan.
well, if you want them to use that money from E&D to fund this side of the budget, then you're not going to get the money back in November.
Why not?
Well, it's not. If you ask them to fund $500,000 now, you're not
I'm
going to be.
talking about the $500,000 that they're spending on capital.
Okay. Yes, you're correct. They could spend that on operating, but they're choosing to spend it on a capital plan.
I mean, I know how you've expressed how you feel about the capital items, Peg, but at some point, you hold off, it costs more, it's bigger than a bread box. The lights in the football field are a must. They're dangerous. We're gonna end up having to take them down.
Why?
They are that deteriorated.
Oh,
We
okay.
had work done on them already, and it was that engineer who said, you have big problems here.
Oh, okay.
The radios, God forbid, in this day and age.
Say that again?
The radios, that's a security issue. If they feel uncomfortable, the building administration feels uncomfortable with the level of security and it could be improved. In this day and age, I'd be surprised if any parent would say, no, let's leave it as is. I mean, we're trying to tackle capital items that honestly we have sat in subcommittee and full committee meetings and talked about, until we're blue in the face. This is what we feel, cracks in a parking lot, if I had to pull something, if you told me reduce it, you know, we put it back on the capital plan, but there are bona fide capital items on that list that must be dealt with.
Okay,
Yeah, you know, the track, if it's not 120,000 now, it is going to be substantially more. So we're trying to be, it's a balancing act. You spend now, you don't spend now, it's a balancing act. We're trying to be reasonable, and we've hammered through it hours on end.
okay. Okay, I take your word for it, because you guys are the ones that are down there taking care of the thing. It just seems like the capital plan has a lot of items in it that you wonder whether it's needed in a 10-year-old building, when buildings in town of Halifax like have no security and they, you know, they're falling apart sometimes.
But the high school's not 10 years old.
Pardon?
The high school's not 10 years old.
The high school's not?
That building.
Oh, no, that's, most of it, well, a big chunk of it's new.
But not all of it.
The vocational wing's not new. The rest of it's new.
Yeah. Newer.
Yeah.
No, I thought the only part they saved was vocational. I thought the rest of the building was torn down.
The vocational school
The
was
vocational
left,
end was left, and that was the part you guys were talking about, the floors.
Right.
and the rest of it
The rest of
is
it was
new.
torn down, right?
Yeah, the rest of it is new. The high,
Completely from the ground up, even the infrastructure?
yeah,
Mm.
it was.
I didn't think about the infrastructure. The wiring was new.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Okay, well, I have to take the word of the people who are in charge of that it's a necessary thing, but to me, I think I remember you saying it sounds more like a wish list than a needs list.
I don't question what's on the list. My question really stems from, every other, entity comes before us with capital requests and quotes. It's a sheet of paper with a bunch of numbers on it. I don't know where they came from, I don't know who made it up, I know nothing other than a sheet of paper with some numbers on it.
Well, we would be happy to provide that. They were all bona fide numbers.
Well,
Where we went out
I
for
think that the
quotes.
committee is owed that. You know, I mean, if we're asked to, you know, endorse past judgment on, you know, I think quotes are definitely.
This is the first I'm hearing that you have interest in that, so we'll get it to you.
I mean, it's been the practice of this committee as long as I've been on it.
Okay. I don't know that we've been asked for that yet, and we're certainly happy to get that. They weren't pulled from thin air. They were sourced.
Well, you know, I don't mean to question you, but when I see things $120,000, $30,000, $24,000, that's not a quote. That's a ROM, rough order of magnitude, and you know, it can be anything. And you know, I find that, you know, a little troubling. You know, to make a decision based on an estimate.
Is it the?
But I'm not going to argue with you. I'd rather get you the quotes, but there's also, when you pick up the phone and you get a quote to redo a track, you have a track with so many square feet, it's how old, you come down and take a look at it and you get a number, you get an estimate.
No, but the law requires you to go out to bid on the track, because it's $120,000.
Oh yeah, we'll go out to bid on, right, but to get numbers in front of people,
But,
we've
Yeah,
got.
I
no,
mean,
you wouldn't
some-
stop a
some-
motion on that, you'd go out to bid.
Somebody on their letterhead should give you a number. I mean, to where it probably shouldn't vary more than 5%, 10% at most.
And John Tuffy was here, we talked about this a little bit when John was here, and John said the other way of getting a good sense of what the cost is gonna be on some of the items, there's no competitive advantage of a school nearby not sharing what they just spent on this or on that. And as John indicated when he was here a couple of meetings ago, that's also what we did in some cases, was go out to other school systems who just replaced something, redid something, and get what their spending was as well.
I mean, I would presume that would be your responsibility to bring that information back to us, to defend a number, not us having to go out and verify whether or not we were given a correct number.
Oh, I'm not asking you
Charlie,
what the number.
Okay.
Yeah,
Charlie,
I'm not asking you to do that at all.
Well, I just want to make sure I did not misunderstand what you were saying. No, I definitely think that, you know, having a very good idea of what these things cost and from valid sources, not that you're not a valid source, but just, you know, to hear it from, you know, where it's going to come from.
Mm-hmm, okay.
That's just, again, not questioning what it's being spent on, but where the numbers come from, and really, I mean, any number could be on there, as far as I know. I don't have anything to go on.
Charlie, what's the law on you have to go out to bid and you have to get 3 quotes?
Well,
What
it
are the
depends,
figures?
it depends on whether you're doing construction or services or things like that. I don't have it upstairs right here, right now. I mean, I know certainly anything above 25,000, they're gonna have to go out through formal bidding for construction work. So that would be the track, that would be wiring, but it might not be, for instance, if they have to buy a walkie-talkie system, you know, radios, whatever you wanna call them, that might be simply a product, and it might be anything under 35, they just need to get 3 quotes. But I can give you the breakout for various types of things. But for instance, the track, they'll have to do formal bidding. They'll
Yeah,
have
that
to
has
do-
to go out to bid.
Yeah,
But you know, 22,000 for cameras, there should definitely be a quote.
yeah, well,
You know, you go out for 3 quotes?
yes, at the very least, they're gonna have to go out for 3 quotes for that.
Okay. And the 2-way radio system.
Might, yeah,
There-
Paul, can we ask you to ask John to
It's not a
give us
problem.
a list of?
Yeah, the sources for the
Yeah.
estimates, yeah, gotcha.
Okay. Okay, are there any other things that you can think of? Paul, is there anything else you can think of? Okay.
This is yours.
Well, I would
Thanks,
move-
take a peek.
I would move that, you know, I know that Kingston's gonna have a problem. I know that Kingston has solved their problem, because they have extra
Yeah,
money. Plimpton has extra money.
but that means they're level funding everything else, they think.
Okay, but what's our responsibility to Plimpton? I mean, we can afford this, so we should have voted the assessment.
What about next year?
Pardon?
So what about next year? If
Yeah.
that's what we had to keep in mind.
Look, that's the thing that I've been saying at all
Yeah.
the Silver Lake meetings, right? But like, that's been my concern.
I know it has, I know, yeah, and you've asked for the projection
Yeah.
for 5 years, which as we've talked about, it's difficult to do. Every year's gonna be a challenge, every year's gonna be a challenge.
And that's why I think a couple of board members here have made the good point of trying to make the best educated decision. So when you get round numbers like this, it's kind of, you need the data to support the educated decision. So I'm gonna voice that. I'm not comfortable.
So because this is included in this, why don't we hold off until we get the
Okay.
data that
Okay, but next year, if it's outrageous, we just won't vote it. We won't vote it. Because in the past, if we have a problem and we ask our sister towns to help us out, we don't get that much help.
well, I mean, I don't know what to say. Last year was a little different. 3 towns talked,
Yes, I agree.
and I don't know. I've been staring at this stuff since
If
January.
their assessment next year is more than like a 2% increase to us, and it doesn't involve population increase, I won't vote for it.
Okay.
That's how we control it. We don't have a vote sitting on the Silver Lake School Committee. I mean, we do have representation, but we individually are not down there.
Yeah.
I have to accept this figure.
All right. Well, why don't we hold off on this until we get the quotes?
Yeah, I think a better vote would come with Nikki present.
Yeah. Okay. let's hold off on Silver Lake. Thank you very much,
When
Mark.
are you meeting again? Did I hear it was this week? Wednesday?
We're meeting Wednesday.
Wednesday, huh?
Alrighty, let me see what I can do about getting you some numbers.
Thank you very much. I think it will be very helpful to us. I know it seems like, another go-do or homework assignment, but, I think our fiduciary responsibility calls for us to, do the due diligence.
Yep, no, understood. We'll get them for you. Not a
Thank you.
problem.
Thank you, Paul.
Have a good night.
Two.
Okay, we received, meaning me, received an updated elementary school number.
Wait a second. An updated figure?
Yes, we just received an updated text message.
This just in.
Yeah, so let me write down these numbers after I zoom in.
We voted the Silver Lake budget already. I mean, the
No,
elementary budget already.
All right,
No, we didn't.
we did,
I think we did.
We
I moved
voted 2.5.
2.5 and it was voted.
Okay, so I can tell you the regular day,
All right?
Wait a second, let me find my,
number 2,
what a mess.
I've got 5,103, 730.
Okay, here it is. Okay, regular
okay,
day.
what do I need to give? I need to give total without out of district sped?
Uh-huh,
Okay, that's $5,102,810. Okay, transportation for out of district special ed is $445,847.
As printed.
Okay. Programs with others. Okay, program with others is $1,443,583. And vocational education has gone to $132,000.
132,000. Down
Plug
from
the numbers in and see where they
153.
land.
Wow.
Mr. Chairman, down from 153.
Down from 153, but up from what we were estimating.
We were hoping at the 99 again, but it's up.
33K.
So, so we're gonna have to, Sandy, do you think you could run off sheets for Wednesday with the
Sure
updated?
can.
And then, so the transportation is the same, right? Special needs transportation is the same.
Mhm.
Right.
And then it's a difference of like $60,000.
They went up the
They upped the,
percentage circuit breaker to 65, but
okay,
they got a new enrollment.
okay.
So I knew it wasn't gonna go down as much as they thought, but
Okay. Well, so if we have updated numbers on Wednesday, we'll know where we are on the deficit side of things, because going up to $40,000, going down $40,000, going up $40,000.
that's the only thing we're gonna be able to tell.
Yeah, so I guess,
Oh, do you suppose you could get the new figure for, New Grove?
I will ask if there's a new figure.
another new figure?
Peg likes to keep track of it daily. Weekly, right, Peg?
Pardon?
You like to keep track of every move on the new.
Oh, it is,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because it does grow. through
Yeah,
the
and they
years,
might not
so-
have totaled it yet. They might still be working on individual lines.
Okay,
But the
I
best
will ask
fig-
her if she's worked on
the
it.
best figure they can produce.
okay.
I will ask for it.
So, do we have Charlie available for Wednesday?
I believe so, as long as he's not sick, or sick of this, or whatever.
Well, sorry, but I don't think number 2 is an excuse.
I think it's a perfectly reasonable excuse. I believe that's April Fool's Day, isn't it?
It might be. April Fools, we have money. That would be a funny handout.
April Fools, I will not be here.
Okay. So, we can do the electricity updates.
Yeah.
What did you guys go through last Wednesday? Did you sign off on a lot of them?
A lot.
Yeah, mostly the electronic stuff.
Okay. So maybe we can get through almost all of it, and then on Monday, we can go through if we've got through almost all of this,
Right.
then we can go through the warrant articles.
Well, yeah, and then we have to make a list of the things we've held to discuss. And we have to start solving those.
No, I agree.
We'll have that information, at least electricity part
Yeah.
on Wednesday, so that will.
So that'd be a majority of the holds, right? Electricity?
Yes.
So you're working
Oh,
on electricity
okay.
on Wednesday?
Well, whatever updates Sandy and Charlie have for us for Wednesday.
I don't know,
We're
maybe,
hoping capital planning, somebody
maybe
can have
Charlie
a
can get
list.
the
What do you
electric
want Monday
updates to
also?
you so you can put them on a list.
Pardon me?
Maybe Charlie can get the electric updates to you so you can include them on the new printout.
Hey, it's a
That's what
team
we're
effort
working
here.
Pardon?
It's a team effort.
Oh,
We're gonna work together and we're gonna get those
Okay.
figures.
Yeah, it was just the things that were emailed to everyone that I printed out in case
Okay.
you needed them. It
So-
wasn't anything that.
We still have a couple items of mail to read before we get to Stu and Linda's motion and see who beats each other to it. Okay, so Zoning Board of Appeals will continue its public hearing on the application by Boker LCC for a comprehensive permit to build 52 single-family homes off of Franklin Street on Monday, April 13th at 7:30 p.m. in the Great Hall of the Halifax Town Hall at 499 Plymouth Street. Documents concerning the project can be found on the ZBA's Chapter 40 website page. Email from Charlie, new Chapter 61A property offer. Hi folks, Keziah Nezarel has notified the town of his intention to lease approximately 9 acres of his property at 69 Summit Street for a solar field. This property has been in Chapter 61A agriculture, and with the conversion will be taken out of the program. The property abuts the town's soccer fields on Summit Street. As with the property on Haywood Street, the town has the right to purchase the property. Unlike the Haywood Street property, there is no offer to match. In this case, if the town was interested in purchasing the property, the town would contract with an independent appraiser, then make a commitment to match that price. While the town does have 120 days to do this, if the town is interested, I would rather an article on the warrant for the annual or special town meetings, May 11th, even if at this point it would be a placeholder, since I do not expect to be able to get all the work done on this project before we go to press in early April. Town council has noted that if the town wants to move forward, it must obtain an appraisal of the property no later than 30 days after receiving notification from Mr. Nezarella. The 30th day is April 18th. The last time the town obtained an appraisal of a property similar in the circumstance, the cost was $2,000, and I would expect an appraisal of this property would cost a similar amount. My intent is to talk to the selectmen on March 31st about whether they wish to move forward. At this point, only the soccer association has showed any interest. If the board wants to move forward, I'll need to fairly quickly request a reserve fund transfer for the appraisal. If you have any questions, I'll be available at the finance committee's meeting on Monday night. And that is.
And that's where things stand. So, as mentioned, we have the opportunity to purchase it. We need to do an appraisal if we were interested, because we have to, in essence, have somebody else determine what the value of the property would be. I'll talk to the board selectmen tomorrow. If they wanna move forward on this, I'll see you all on Wednesday and request a reserve fund transfer, since obviously this is an unanticipated expense. So, as I mentioned, soccer's the only folks who are interested in doing this. They probably would, it's a parcel maybe, I think a little bit smaller than the one we have right now. Back when we bought the soccer parcel on Summit, Keziah basically cut his property there into two. Left-hand side, he ended up selling to the town for the soccer fields. Right-hand side, he kept for his own use and for his home that's up near the entrance on Summit Street. He's leasing the back 9 to a solar field developer, whatever, and is therefore obviously not doing agriculture, at least of the normal variety. And so we have an opportunity, because it was in 61A and got a discount of the taxes, to obtain the property ourselves. Whether the board wants to move ahead with this, and then obviously, even if you say yes, I bring an article to town meeting, they still have to find funding, town meeting still has to say yes. There are a lot of steps, but the timing at least works. I don't need a special town meeting to do this. I don't know where, given the, I think at least there'll be fewer people objecting, I think, to having more soccer fields there, if that's where we want to go to, having more graves near their houses.
Was that this whole vision, was more soccer fields for
I-
this, or
I
is
would
this
say
a
that-
reviving the cemetery issue?
No, this would be soccer fields.
Okay.
I mean, I got nothing from the highway, was the cemetery also, saying they're interested for a cemetery there. I think it makes more sense if the town was gonna do something down there, that we hold on to land. Maybe not for immediate, it's not as if the next month we'll build new soccer fields there, but I think in the long term, it makes sense to have all the fields in place. We probably would increase the amount of parking down there, because I think we have problems with parking to begin with, but B is that we have the softball smash every summer, and I think the soccer association would be interested in doing similar things if they had more fields altogether.
The next,
I think the town has other capital needs, such as the, doing something about housing for the elderly, more than expanding the soccer fields.
But that's why we're going through this process. I'll find, you folks might say, no, don't do, we're not giving
No,
the money.
that's my opinion.
No, I understand, Peg. It's perfectly legitimate opinion. I'm not positioning myself to disagree with you at all. I'm, in my professional capacity, I'm required to do what I'm doing right now.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
No, I'm on the finance
Yeah.
committee, so
Right.
therefore I have to take a stand on
Yeah,
it.
that's fine.
Okay, the next email is from Charlie. It's the latest CPI data. So New England, January 2014 to January 2015, all items 0.6%. New England, January 2014 to January 2015, all items minus food and energy, 1.9%. National, February 2014 to February 2015, all items 0, no change. And national, February 2014 to 2015, all items minus food and energy, 1.6%. As I mentioned, New England numbers come out every 2 months, and it won't be until late April that the March to March data is released.
Yeah, you can, the all costs are kind of skewed right now because of the low cost of gas. The cost of gas is driving down that figure. So if we go with the figures of all costs except food and energy, the numbers there justify the recommendation of the Wage and Personnel Board, in my opinion.
Okay.
Who's good to go? Your turn. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
See you guys Wednesday night.